Rhonda, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to chat.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm so excited to be here. It's like a dream come true.
Oh my gosh, the the honor is all mine. So I was actually super excited to have this too because you and I have been talking for a long time and we've been able to kind of just stay in touch and stay on track as you've made a really big change, a really big life change, a really big career change. You are now a year into the real estate business. And I thought it would be really fun to do like a 1 year check-in, talk about how it's gone, talk about how that big transition in your life has been, and really just kind of share a true, honest look into what it's like to start a real estate business in 2022.
Okay, sounds good.
So share with me a little bit about what happened a year ago when you transitioned into full-time real estate because this was a big move that you'd been planning for a while and you kind of went for it. Can you just tell us a little bit about how that went?
Yeah. So, I had always planned to get my real estate license as, a young mom working. I was in the title industry. That was my career, and my husband was working, and we were both making paychecks that we needed because we were raising our boys. And so I knew that I wanted to be a real estate agent, but I knew that I needed my paycheck. And I know what it takes to get into real estate. You just don't start making money right away. It's not how it works. So I put that on pause for a while and said, when my kids get older, I'll do that. Well, then as my kids got older and moved out, I became a grandma. And so that pushed everything aside because that, as we know, is the greatest thing in the world to become a grandma. So I stayed home for about 13 years with my grandkids. And then I decided to go to real estate school and get my license. And the pandemic hit, so that was fun. So that was a little bit different.
Mhm.
But I officially got my license 1 year ago, August 27th. Um, and since then, it's been really great. And I think the main two reasons why, or I know the main two reasons why, are as I always knew I was going to join the Market Authority Academy. It just was something that I had been watching for a long time. And as my years in the title company, I knew that new agents need help. They just do. They don't know what to do. School teaches you nothing. So I always knew I was going to sign up with you. You have been, I've watched you forever and you just amaze me.
Oh.
So I did that. That was the first smart thing. The second smart thing I did was team up with one of my best friends who's been in real estate for 20 years. And we know each other very well. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we work well together. And it's been the biggest blessing ever because she's let me um, take the reins in some situations and really be hands on with transactions. And I feel like I've got the opportunity in this year to learn so much.
Oh my gosh. So I love that. And thank you, by the way, um, for the kind words. I think that you deserve a lot of credit for making sure that you surrounded yourself with the help and support and all the opportunities that you needed to succeed. Because I think so often, and tell me if you agree, I think so often real estate agents have this thought of like, well, I need to go in and just figure it out myself first. And then at some point, once I reach a certain level of quote unquote success or production, then I can afford, or then it's worth bringing on help or a coach or mentorship. When really, like, you have to become the person who's able to do that level of production before that production actually follows, right? And so you need that support. And you made sure that number one, you had a good strategy, you had good coaching, you had good mentorship, and you had somebody in the trenches with you that you trusted on the day to day, which is huge. I mean, kudos to you. That's amazing.
Thank you. It is the two things that I am proudest the most because I really got into this because I care about the people that I'm going to work with and I want to do it right and I want to have people around me who can help me do that. And I don't have any shame in asking for help and guidance. I think more people really should.
Yeah. So what were some of the things that you learned in those early days? Like, let's say the first 6 months or so where you were like, holy cow, I had no idea that this was in store for me. I'm so glad that I have someone to help navigate this. Like, was there any big aha moments that you were like, oh my gosh, that is like so unexpected.
Right.
This is crazy.
Well, a lot of it had to do with the whole crazy past year and that we've been in. And just taking people out to show them houses and literally like saying we have to write right now or we really will not have a chance at all. And that was something that, you know, I didn't really expect was going to happen. But it was, I got thrown right into that. And I feel like I got really good at empathizing with people and just really feeling it all from everybody's perspective. And everybody just wants it for the good of the transaction and the client. And sometimes it just didn't go that way. And it was just, it was a lot to learn right at the beginning because, you know, everyone was like, this is not normal. This is not normal. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's crazy.
I think, you know, it's interesting because I think there are some agents who didn't realize how unnormal it was because like now, and you and I are in the same market, it is like night and day. Like, do you feel how crazy the market has shifted away from that?
100%. It's just, and I understand from the seller's point of view, like, okay, they want to get what their neighbor got, you know, a year ago, but it's just not happening. It's not happening right now. It's just when people say the market has shifted, it's shifted.
Yeah. How have you learned as a new agent to stay on top of being able to still convert opportunities like that, even with the market shift? Because a lot of times when you haven't experienced these types of scenarios, and to be fair, even more seasoned agents haven't experienced what happened, right? So a lot of us are kind of in uncharted waters where we're having to have those difficult conversations. What's been your approach to still make sure that you can serve the people who you're working with and get them either off the fence or to the finish line more quickly?
Well, I have to credit you for that because you have taught me to research every single day. And that's what I do. I research my market. I look at it every day. I feel like I know what's going on. I tell people I study with a coach and a mentor, and she knows her stuff and she agrees with what I'm saying right now. And I have thrown you out there in conversations with actual clients. And I think that makes them feel a little bit better too, because they know that I'm not just trying to like quick sell, you know, their house and, you know, tell them, you know, what I want to tell them. It's based on real facts.
I love that. So not so much just like trying to say whatever you think they want to hear in order to get a sale, but more so saying this is in my professional opinion and those that I'm, you know, that I'm developing my business with, this is what we are seeing on the market. These are what these numbers mean, and that's how that's impacting you.
Yes, exactly. You always say everything so well.
You're so right. No, I just think it's interesting. And that was actually now that I think about it, that was one of the first questions that you asked me like 6 or 8 months ago. And you were like, hey, so it was about the Cromford report. Did you end up getting the Cromford report?
So I haven't invested in it, but I have somebody who shares the information with me right now.
Perfect.
My goal was I'm very structured in how I am spending my money.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know, it's on my next list of things to do, but I want that information. So I went out and I was able to get it. So
yeah. So that I think the question was specifically, hey, I know that you talk about market data, Stefanie, as a new agent, do I really need to go out of my way to find this right now? Or is there more important things I should be doing? And I think the question was ultimately, should I be paying
Right.
for access to this information. And we just happen to be in a market where there's a subscription for market stats called Cromford Report, just for if you're listening and you're like, what are they talking about? And it's kind of a pricey subscription. It's a couple $100 a year.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of the most important things that you can do. But regardless of the tools that you're using, having access to market data, especially as a new agent, is so important. What does your routine look like in terms of like just gathering that data? Do you do it every day or a couple times a week, or when questions arise?
I do it every day. I don't necessarily always look at the information from Cromford every single day. I look at it at least once a week, if not more. And I look at the MLS every day. And I have a certain system of tracking what I'm looking at. I have saved homes that I am interested in, and I see when they went on the market. I watch how many days they've been on the market. I watch what they closed at. And I also look at active and coming soon. Every day I'm in there. And it just helps me to know what's going on in different parts of the valley.
Yeah. I think the agents who aren't doing that are missing a huge opportunity to speak from a place of knowledge.
Absolutely. I agree. And I hear them sometimes say things and I'm like, no.
Isn't that so funny?
Yes.
Just by knowing the numbers, it puts you in such a better position aside from other people who just assume they know what they're talking about.
Yes.
So I want to talk a little bit about the partnership that you have, because a lot of agents, when they're getting into the business, they think, oh, what should I do? Like, is it the brokerage, or do I need to choose a team, or do I need to have a partner? Like, what's the best way? Or do I just go solo? How do I make that decision? Can you tell a little bit about that decision-making process? I know it was something not necessarily a given, but something that you felt really strongly to do was join with a partner in real estate who had already been a little bit more established. Sure. Share a little bit about that experience and kind of some of the highlights from it, I guess.
Okay. So when I was processing all of this and getting my license, I have, of course, a lot of close friends who are real estate agents. I just do. There are a lot of agents. And I just was thinking about, how they did it, and thinking about that, thinking about the agency that I wanted to join, thinking about the team, everything you said. And I just, and I even went through a broker's kind of training program for and it felt completely antiquated to me. It was so old school that I'm not kidding you. I watched the same videos in the 90s when I was at the title company. Like, it was really bad. And I just said, no way. I was in marketing at the title company, and we didn't even have the internet back then. Like, it was so old. And I knew that coming into this, it's a whole new world. And so I wanted to be able to do all those things and learn all those things. So talked to my friend Wendy about it, who I said is a good time friend. We've been friends since 7th grade, like best friends. Okay. And she's very easygoing and open and happy, and everybody loves Wendy, and it's just been Wendy and Rhonda forever. So she was open to it, and she's not a marketing person. She's not a social media person, and I am. And so I was like, this is my plan for us for the future. I'm going to be with Stefanie, and she's going to guide me on all things social and prospecting and everything that I need to do there. And you and I are going to team up, and we're going to work together. And, she's a busy lady, and she does so well in real estate, but she could use me too. And so it just worked out. And it's like I said, I mean, we just kind of did it together, and we're going along.
So, what you did that was so cool is you really found ways that you could contribute to a really awesome partnership first. And you had the relationship there, which is great. It's important to have someone who you trust and who you know well, but also thinking about ways, there's so many ways as a new agent that new agents can be contributing to partnerships like that.
For sure.
To also just give as much as they receive. But it sounds like you've also gotten a lot of hands-on support. So tell me a little bit about how she's helped, like with learning the contracts or just navigating the business itself, different transactions.
Well, first of all, she's been open to it. I
Okay.
have, like I said, I have talked to agents who are with somebody training and they're just not open to them letting them even try.
Don't you think that's weird?
Yes. It's so, and I mean, I understand that people have a type A mentality where they want to do everything themselves, but then I just don't think that that's good to be in the mentoring type position
Yeah.
because she has let me just go out there. Like like we would like plan to go do something together, like just as easy as showing buyers a house for the first time. And she just let me try. And then she was actually a little bit later and I was there and I was like sweating. Thank God it was my brother was the person that I was showing a home to because I couldn't do the lockbox. I didn't know what to do. And then she got there and she just showed me. And then she's like, you're fine. You can, go show the next house. Go do that. Like she wasn't like all worried or freaked out about it. And the same thing went when it came to writing something up. She's just like, write it up, show it to me, and I'll tell you. And I learned by doing that.
I love that. So if there are agents who are in a partnership or on a team where they're not getting those opportunities, is it a situation, do you think, where they need to maybe make a change? Or do you think you could have created those opportunities for yourself looking back now?
I do think so too. I did create a lot of it because she has always complimented me like, you want to do so much. She has worked with people in the past who have done nothing. And me being her friend, I've always like heard her mention that before in the past. So I never wanted to be like that. I'm like, I will do everything. I will do anything. I will go show anytime, and I have the luxury of being able to do that. So, I did, let her know right up front, like I'm open to do anything. I'll drive out to Apache Junction. I'll do whatever we need to get done to make the transaction happen.
Yeah, you know what I'm hearing here is really important that you're saying, which you deserve so much credit for, is you already took on the identity of somebody who is going to make this happen no matter what. And I remember kind of getting the sense of that during the early days that you and I were talking, even before you like made your first like launch, because we were talking on social media even before
Yes,
that. and
exactly.
and you were like, this is what I'm going to do, this is my plan. I like, it was a part of your identity already.
For
And
sure.
I think that's really helpful to distinguish from the approach of, well, I'm going to show up and hopefully someone will tell me what to do. Because a lot of agents like kind of like they just arrive,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not even necessarily that they expect business to be given to them, but sometimes that is the case.
Yeah.
But they almost like just wait for permission to go and get going.
Mhm.
Whereas even though like, yes, you had this great partnership, you had access to more of these opportunities, I think you would have been out there making stuff happen anyways, just because that was your identity getting into it.
Thank you. I hope so.
I think so. So
Okay.
so tell me a little bit about how business has gone. How many transactions, any aha moments, any hopes for the future, that kind of stuff.
Yes, for sure. So, in my first year, we've had 10 transactions. We've worked with buyers and sellers. We've had some amazing stories, some crazy stories. Oh my gosh, we were in contract with this one house that we were selling, 4 different contracts. And number 1 and number 4 were the same people. So the person who actually wrote the first contract and then got out came back and was the 4th contract. It was such a whirlwind of emotions for all of us. It was crazy, but it was just the greatest experience. I feel like I learned so much. I'm so close to our seller and buyer. They bought in Sun City. I'm so close with them. Wendy too, of course. We're just their family to us now. We went through all that. Some of the crazy things that we've gone through as far as we did have one buyer that I worked with so long, and she got priced out of the market during that when the rates went up, and that was heartbreaking. But we're gonna get it again. We're working with her. You know, she's got her own business, so we've got to deal with that kind of stuff. But it's just all learning and growing with these people, and there's been a lot of experiences through all of this. New time parents we had, their first baby was born. I mean, everything's just so personal. It's so great.
I love that. Do you have any sense of what to expect for next year? Like going into your second year, any kind of like goals or any outlook on what you hope to achieve?
Yes, I know for sure what I hope to achieve is, and I'm going to achieve, is being better at all the things that you teach us. I feel like last year, or this past year, I was just getting into all of it. I like to read it all and absorb it, and then have the content mean sense in context. And now I feel like I am so ready. I am so ready for all of my systems. I'm going to be completely organized in that way, and I just feel so great about it. I just feel like I have all these systems in place, and I know what I'm going to do. And just because of that, I know our business is going to grow, and I'm going to be more confident on social media. That's where I've been bad.
Well, I think it's interesting because confidence comes over time too, right? So like, would you say you're more confident today than you were a year ago, for example?
Yes, because I feel like I know what I'm talking about a little bit more, but it's just the showing my face on Instagram is just not easy. It's
Yeah.
not for me yet.
Over time it becomes more comfortable, and I think like all things, practice makes perfect. But we talk a lot about like, detaching from our own opinion of what's happening, right? So
Yes.
like just remembering it's like and you have said this already so many times, it's about the people, it's about who you're serving, it's
Mm-hmm.
about the real person on the other side of a transaction. And I think anytime we can think about that, and really just even before we pick up our phone, think about how we can show up for people who might need a little guidance or support in the home buying or selling process, and
Right.
putting the focus on them helps us detach a little bit from like staring at ourselves in the
I know.
screen and wondering if we're looking
No,
okay or whatever.
I know. It's too much.
Well, I still struggle with it. Like I was on the stories, oh, you know what? I was making a TikTok the other day, and Bryce, my husband, was in the office here with us, and I kept messing up because I couldn't help but think about like him listening to me,
Yes.
and he kept doing this thing where he was like poking around the monitor, like that didn't sound so good. You should redo that part.
Oh my gosh,
And so
I
like
know.
it's still a work in progress for me.
I think I even asked you, do you ever have bloopers?
Yeah.
And you said, yes, I do, because I feel like I film myself doing things and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just cannot get it.
Some days are like that, and then some days
Yeah.
it just flows, right? There are plenty of times when I'm having to redo the same sentence over and over again. And I just go, okay, boop, 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 and I just say, okay, what's next? And I just keep on moving on to the next thing.
That's why I'm so excited for next week, because we're having a whole series on social media, and
Yes.
that's what I need.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super excited for that for sure.
I
We
am
talk about
too.
this stuff and
We do.
awesome. So just as we wrap up, I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like I could talk to you for
I
hours.
know.
And I want to make sure that we're being good on time. So do you have any parting like advice or remarks for real estate agents who are just starting, or maybe still trying to find their footing in their early days?
Right. I do. I would say really think about who you're partnering with and who is giving you your information. Research those people, because the person who is in your broker's office that's been there for 35 years, and that's not an age thing, because I'm old too. I'm in my 50s. they might not know everything that you should be learning right now.
Mhm.
So really open your eyes and ears and find somebody who really speaks to you, and build your business from that, from who you partner with. And you hear that? That's my cat.
Oh, that's okay. Hi, kitty, kitty. No worries.
So that's all I can really say is just you don't have to do it alone. Ask for
Mm.
help and find somebody who's really willing to give you some great help.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I was just talking to another new agent, and she was inquiring about market authority, and she kind of said, like, you know what, it's just, there's just so much involved, and there's so many costs involved with getting started up. I'm going to go it alone first and see how it goes. And in my mind, that's so risky, and it's so expensive to do it that way, because I know for me how much I wasted in terms of time and money just trying to figure it out. But I want to acknowledge you, because you had such a great mindset where you were showing up, you were ready to do the work, but you also accepted that it wasn't going to be done on day one. Like, it was going to take some time to learn the business. It was going to take time to put these pieces in place, and Rome wasn't built in a day. And you've been curious at every step of the way, like curious and open-minded about new ways to try things, getting out of your comfort zone. And that's not easy for anybody. And it wasn't easy for you. And it's still, like you said, something that you're working on.
Sure.
But that is a trait that is going to set you apart from colleagues in our industry for years to come. So I want to acknowledge you on that, because that's a really special thing that you'll get to lean into as your superpower.
Thank you, Stefanie.
Oh. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I thought this was super fun. For those who might want to continue the conversation with you,
Sure.
or just kind of follow along on your journey, where can they find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram. That's my main place. It's just Rhonda M. Gilliland. You say the land.
I'll make sure to have that linked too in the show notes,
Okay.
in case anyone wants to connect with you.
Yeah, I would love it. And I have a link in there to set up a phone consultation. I've done that a couple times, and really talked to some great people, helping some investors find some things. So, it's been good. I've learned a lot.
I love that. Well, thank you so, so much for joining me, Rhonda. I had a blast. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Steph. It was an honor.